Okay, so welcome everybody to the 2021 YPI grant presentation Zoom meeting. It is our second year doing this over Zoom. We were hoping that this year we would be back to normal, but unfortunately it just hasn't been the case. But YPI continues to be a strong tradition at Crestwood, and we had another fantastic competition this year. We completed that just before our spring break. And it was probably one of the most tightly tight competitions we've had in our history. It was a nail biter. We had some excellent entries. I can tell you that Mr. Volk and I had some really difficult decisions to make, just who came out of our classes to make the finals. And the judging panel who did the finals had a really difficult time because we had many great presentations. But we had Simran, Evan, and Carrie Ann do a fantastic job, and their presentation managed to stick out from everybody else's. So congratulations, you three, on an excellent job. And I know you're supporting a fantastic charity. Before I pass it on to you, I want to just thank Mr. Volk for all his help this year in making YPI continue to go this year. I know our admin was a tremendous help this year. And again, a special big thank you to everyone at YPI for all their continued support and really helping us make this continue to work even during COVID times. So thank you to all for all your continued support. And I'll now pass it on to Julie to say a few words.
Wow, thank you so much. I am really, really happy to be here and be able to take part in this. But I as well wanted to share some thank yous. And I'd like to start by thanking the students for maintaining the integrity and the impacts of YPI and really showing an interest in your communities, and then standing up and representing the organization that you had such a heartfelt connection with. So thank you. I'd like to thank the charities and all of the charities that we worked with, and this one particularly. Thank you for supporting and working with the students who have shown a truly genuine interest in your work and the people that you support. Crestwood and these wonderful educators, thank you so much for all that you've done year after year, particularly during this unpredictable last year, to continue to engage young people in their communities. Thank you very much. I also wanted to point out something I'm not sure that everyone is aware, but the private and independent schools that we work with, they actually share in the grants that are given out to charities, and the sharing, that support that we get from them allows us to bring the program into more communities, to reach more students and more charities. So I'd like to thank you all at Crestwood for that as well. And I would also, I really want to thank Kate and the entire YPI team, because before, in March of last year, before it was even announced that there were going to be school closures, the entire team was working on ways to ensure that we continue to have the same impacts and effects, and that we continue to do good for our communities. So thank you to the entire YPI team for that. So thank you. Thanks again for having me.
Okay, thank you very much for joining us, and I'll pass it on to our students, Simran, Evan, and Carrie Ann, to introduce our guest from your charity and to make the presentation. So go ahead, Simran. Go ahead.
Okay. Thank you so much for everything, and I'm really happy to say that our charity Women Act was the one we chose, and I think that they do some really amazing things.
Awesome. Thank you, Simran. Carrie Ann and Evan, do you have anything you'd like to add?
Yeah, for sure. I think that the work they do is extremely important, and it's something that is a part of like everyday lives. It's always going to be around, and so it's really important to just help as many people and as many women as you can. And so I really enjoyed learning about it and how many ways I can help and help other people that I know. And it was a really good learning experience for me.
Yeah, similar to what Karen said, it was a really amazing learning experience, and it felt really good to have a pretty big positive impact on the community around me. So I'm really proud of that and all of us.
All right, well, thank you very much, guys. Okay. In normal times, somewhere buried in a closet at Crestwood is a nice giant novelty check that which, if we were able to do this in person, we would have, but unfortunately we don't. But congratulations, you guys, on earning this $5,000 grants for your charity. And if Lyra, and you want to say anything on behalf of your charity, that would be great.
Yes, thank you so much. And thank you for making this happen. And also thank you for making this happen during really difficult and challenging times, because I think it's been very easy to let certain, traditions or customs or work kind of slip away and be covered by this really difficult, challenging pandemic time. But this work is important, and this work is important because we've actually found that during the pandemic, unfortunately, we have had communities in need more than ever. So you may be familiar with this, but rates of violence against women, rates of domestic violence have actually skyrocketed during this time. And so it's been really important for us to continue to support our communities, but also remind people that we call this a shadow pandemic because it can be kind of forgotten about, disappear behind kind of the important health issues and health challenges we have. So just to say thank you, and of course the donation, the funding is always really important for our work, as I'm sure you can appreciate. But even more important than that, and I think I said that to Simran, was that it's important for people to know about the issue, to be aware of it, to know that it's happening next door to you in your community, perhaps in your school. It happens everywhere. So I think that it's just important. The funding, of course, is important, and we very much appreciate that. But we appreciate that students and young students are interested in learning about this important issue in our community and for giving back in that way. So I just want to also acknowledge that for us at Women Abuse Council of Toronto, that is just as important as the funding. So thank you. The funding will go towards ensuring that we can continue to advocate for women in our communities, but advocate for system change. And that's really what we do, is not just, it's helping the collective difference and really looking to eradicate violence against women altogether. So this funding will help towards continuing to work on our policy advocacy and those strategies, as well as to continue to engage communities in this mobilization, particularly young people. So thanks. And again, thank you for doing this during what I know is a difficult and challenging time. And it could have easily, I think, sometimes be, well, we'll do something different this year. So we really do appreciate it. And thank you to the students, and thank you for Simran and Evan and Carrie Ann, who are very persistent and following up and asking really important questions and showing their passion for this. So I do really appreciate that as well. So thank you.
Okay, fantastic. Well, it's always, this is as a teacher who helps to make this, to work on this project. It's always so satisfying at the end of this to hear that the money is going to such a wonderful cause, and it's such violence against women. I know how well that these three students spoke, speaking out against it. It is an issue that I'm so proud of our students for bringing it to our classroom and raising awareness about it to their peers. It's a really important issue, and I'm so pleased that the money's going to a great cause. Kate, is there anything you'd like to add before we wrap up for this?
Yeah, just a big thank you to all the students on the call. Again, I was so impressed by your work. Liran, I hope that you had the opportunity to see it. They did highlight the impacts of COVID on domestic violence and gender-based violence, and the work of your organization in particular over the past now year, going on year and a half. We're not quite there yet, but it feels like a long time. So yeah, just echoing what you said about Crestwood, that it could have been easier to do something else. We feel that so deeply, that appreciation for you moving forward with YPI. After this year, your students will have directed $85,000 to local social service charities in Toronto. And as Julie mentions, Crestwood's contributions are a big part of that. So we really appreciate the partnership, the long-standing deep partnership between YPI and Crestwood. It's really special to us. And just lastly, I know that domestic-based violence and gender violence has a special, it's very important, this issue, to the Crestwood community. And so when I saw this presentation, it resonated really, really deeply. And I know that a lot of others in your community felt the same way. So thank you for tackling this really heavy but important topic, especially during this really heavy time. Yeah.
I just wanted to touch on something, if I can have just a minute, just to really mention for the sake of the students something that was talked about just now, and that is the importance of everything over and above the grant. I mean, the grant that goes to this charity will do a lot. I'm quite certain, but there is so much more that you can all continue to do, whether or not you have that grant in your hands or another grant in your hands to give tomorrow. There is so much more. You have so much value, so much strength in your voices. There's a lot that you can continue to do. And I'm really glad that you pointed that out, because I think that is really important. Everything that happens can happen above and beyond the grant. So thank you for pointing that out.
All right. Well, thank you very much to everyone for joining us. And for Simran, Carrie-Ann, and Evan, you may not know this, but next year you will be the host of the YPI finals. As part of the tradition we have at Crestwood is the previous year's winners always get to come back and host next year's finals. Fingers crossed. We are so hopeful that next year we will be back in the gymnasium doing it live with the entire school. I also hope that moving forward too, and last year's winners, when they did the hosting for this year, they're still talking about wanting to go visit their charity from last year. They still haven't had that opportunity. So I hope you three, when this is all over, have the opportunity to go visit your charity, maybe even do some of that lovely community service work that you guys all need to do. I think it would be a great way to kind of finish up this project, to actually go do a visit. And but again, thank you very much to everyone for all your support. Congratulations. Simran, Carrie-Ann, and Evan, you did a fantastic job. And we look forward to continuing this tradition next year.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Okay.